You know, we use thousands upon thousands of words every single day. But what if I told you that the most powerful ones are actually the ones hiding in plain sight? Yeah, they're the words we use so often we barely even notice them. And yet, they're doing all the heavy lifting in our language.
It really all boils down to this number right here, 90. That's it. Just 90 specific verbs make up the absolute core engine of our everyday English communication. It's a surprisingly small number when you think about it, right? These are the words we use to build our world, idea by idea.
So that leads to the big question, doesn't it? Why these 90? I mean, what's their secret? What gives this small, select group of words such incredible power and, well, versatility? That's exactly what we're going to dive into. Let's start by thinking of these verbs as the unsung heroes of our language, the superstars. They're not flashy, they're not complicated, but honestly, without them, our ability to communicate would just fall apart. I mean, look at this. It really comes down to workload. This tiny, tiny fraction of verbs, just those 90, they do the vast majority of the work in our daily speech and writing. And this isn't some accident. It's all about language efficiency. The most useful words just naturally become the most frequent. And they create this powerful core that all of us rely on, usually without even thinking about it. So here's the big mind shift. We've got to stop thinking of these as grammar points you have to memorize for a test. They're not. They are fundamental tools, and with these tools, we build thoughts, we share stories, and we literally construct our reality.
Let's start with the absolute bedrock, the foundational few. These verbs are like the essential scaffolding for pretty much every single sentence we create.
And here they are, the big three: be, have, and do. You might look at them and think they're simple, but these three verbs are the pillars that everything else is built on. Their function is just profound.
Okay, let's start with be. This little two-letter word lets us define what something is. It sets the entire stage for every other idea. It's about existence, identity, a state of being. It's the verb that lets us say, I am here, or this is true. It's fundamental.
And next up, we've got have. This verb is all about connection. It gives us the power to describe possession, sure, but also relationships and all the qualities that make up our world. See, you can have a car, but you can also have a friend or have courage. It connects us to everything around us. Okay, so our foundation is set. Let's bring in some dynamism with the action heroes. These are the movers, the shakers, and the makers, the verbs that describe all the movement, change, and creation in our world. And this analogy is just perfect. Verbs like get, go, take, and make, they are the Swiss Army knives of English. Seriously, each one is a multi-tool that can do an incredible number of jobs, all depending on the context. Just take the word get for a second. Look at this range. You can get a gift, which means obtain. You can get tired, which means become. You can get the joke, meaning you understand. And you can get home, which means you arrive. That's one word doing 4 completely different jobs, and we all get it instantly. Now that's power. And there's this beautiful subtlety to them too. Check out make versus do. We make things that didn't exist before, right? We make a promise, we make a decision, we make a cake, we're creating. But we do tasks that already exist. We do our homework, we do the dishes, we're performing an action. They're simple words, yeah, but they have very precise jobs. So we've established existence, and we've described action. But how do we share what's going on inside our own heads? Well, that's where our final group of verbs comes in. Let's call them the mind's messengers. Verbs like say, know, think, see, feel, and believe, these are the key players here. Each one of them opens a different little window into the mind. You know, to know something isn't the same as to believe it. And to see a problem is different than to feel its impact. These verbs give us the nuance to talk about our entire inner landscape. This famous quote just perfectly captures their importance, doesn't it? Our ability to think isn't just some mental action. Descartes argued it's the very foundation of our consciousness, of our sense of self. It just shows how fundamental these verbs are to who we are. Ultimately, this group of verbs, they are the essential bridge between people. They are the tools for communication, for connection, for empathy. They let me tell you what I think, and they let you know that I see your point of view. When you say, I feel your frustration, you're using a simple little verb to build this complex, beautiful bridge of human connection. And all of this brings us to one core conclusion. the incredible power of simplicity. It turns out, the real strength in language doesn't come from complexity, but from the elegant efficiency of these core words. So the takeaway here is pretty clear. True mastery of communication isn't about knowing a ton of $5 words. It's about knowing how to use these simple, precise tools with skill and with intention to build exactly what you want to say. Because, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's about using these foundational, simple words to express the most complex, the most beautiful, and the most powerful ideas imaginable. So I'll just leave you with this one question. Now that you're in on the secret, now that you're aware of the incredible power that's packed into these 90 simple tools, what will you choose to build with them?